This woman escapes parents' arranged marriage to her cousin and joins the Air Force. I share women's stories, and sometimes those stories don't reflect that well back on culture. That's the life we live in, and that's the life that some of these women are living in. And whenever I do share some of these stories, no matter the culture, I'll get pushback. Even when I shared Miss Lucy's story, where she was talking about how she was in a forced marriage by her mother, I get pushback from Black folks saying that I'm disparaging Black folks. So I get it. I had this young woman swoop in and let me know that she's disappointed in how other women of color are portraying Pakistani people, all because I'm sharing this story of this woman who got away. But regardless, I share narratives, and I'm going to share her narrative so she can set the record straight from her perspective because I like to be fair. She says, I'm Pakistani. I know y'all hear about honor unalivings, etc., but I also want to make you aware that they're not as horrendously common as mass media wants to portray. We're not savages, and I'm disappointed in other women of color who advance that narrative. We're a developing country that has been repeatedly portrayed by media as backwards since September 11th, and we continue to have political upheaval as a direct result of the American government intervening in the country. We're the same people that were given empty polio vaccines by American aid workers who then turned around and stole poor Pakistani citizens' blood samples to then hunt down bin Laden and his family, then blame Pakistanis for not trusting vaccines and allowing their children to get sick. I'm overjoyed that Hamna got away and had enough wherewithal to do so. I hope she continues to stay safe, but the comments here are disappointing. We support all women regardless of their beliefs, their culture, and the systems that they have to navigate, even if they have to work within those systems to survive. As a woman, I want women to be able to be safe, secure, and have opportunities. That's all I want, and that's what I want to see going forward. Women having opportunities to live how they want to live. Now, to some other comments that were on the thread. This woman says, I'm always so amazed that immigrant families come to America but want their children to eschew the very freedoms and choices that brought them here. I had a heated discussion with a Nigerian acquaintance, a mom who sent her adopted Nigerian daughter to an all white school in California, but was frustrated that the girl was like an American and not Nigerian at all. She threatened to send the girl, who was 12 at the time, back to Lagos, which I thought was cruel given the girl was only born there but had never lived there. I'm glad this young Pakistani woman had the courage to take control of her own life. Besides, who wants to marry their cousin? And then this person says, first cousin marriage is quite prevalent among Muslim communities almost everywhere. They use it as a means to keep property within the family. Okay, so then Katarina 23 says, please don't be ignorant. Us Muslims prefer to marry cousins. Despite the fake story your government fed you about gene mutations, it simply isn't true. Muslims produce the most beautiful children, and we have a smaller percentage of deformed children as compared to Western mothers who smoke, drink alcohol, and sleep around as young ladies, which cause cervical mutations. You people in the West have your priorities in the wrong place. Instead of worrying about the ills in your society, which are bigger than any society in the world, you are worried about us marrying cousins. There is a great benefit to marrying a cousin. The guy will be family. So if he decides to mistreat his wife, her parents, which are his aunt and uncle, will scold him. His parents will be extra mad at him for straining the relations. Therefore, the guys are kept in check. They have many to fear, as well as the wife's brothers, who are his cousins, whom he wants to be friends with most times. There is a lot on the line, not to mention many other benefits of having your aunt as your mother-in-law, and will treat you more like a mother because you are the beloved child of her sibling. This is not to say there aren't families that have enmity between them. I'm not married to a cousin, but luckily he is a good man and doesn't need to be checked by my brothers. Okay, so then someone responded to Katarina 23 saying the Desi community prefers to marry cousins. It's not a Muslim thing. We have been allowed to marry cousins, but it's not recommended or preferred. It's not sunnah, and we shouldn't act as if the Prophet Puba, or the Quran tells us marrying your cousins is preferred. Also, look how mistreated women tend to be in the Desi community. It doesn't matter that they are family. The woman is often more reluctant to divorce in order to not ruin the family dynamic. Don't misrepresent what Islam is. It has been mixed with religion too much. Even the expectation that the woman has to live with her in-laws has no place in Islam. We have the right to a separate accommodation, and we don't own our in-laws anything. We don't owe our in-laws anything. We don't even have to Islamically keep in touch with them. Okay, so that's that. So a few more comments. I'm Nigerian, and parents like that. In fact, a lot of parents view children as an extension of themselves and not separate beings with their own dreams and desires, an extension through which they can carry out their heart desires and live their failed dreams. I totally understand wanting better for your children, but this isn't that. They run roughshod over their children. It's like a dictator subject relationship, my way or the highway. You can't ask me any questions, just do as I'd deem fit. Absolutely. You see this in many cultures with overbearing parents that want to, dictate everything, very authoritarianism. And I'm glad that many younger women are bucking that tradition. This woman says, my parents tried to marry me off. Italian family here. I joined the Navy. Yes, the military is very scary for women, but imagine choosing the lesser of two evils. Crazy, but I wish her the best. So this person says, Silesian German here. I'm punished for not wanting to be abused or raped by an old fat Christian men and being expired and unmarried. I'm 21. I cannot go to work, get a car license, education without a husband's permission because I live in Poland. So I'm stuck going crazy in a room alone because I had a stroke, the abuse and stress because I'm female. I wasn't treated at the hospital. I just semi-diagnosed and kicked out. Worst part, my mother and grandmother chose their partner when they wanted, but they treat me as property or a slave. The government and police don't care. I tried to escape. They brought me back and said, your family or your 18 abuse doesn't exist, or threatening to arrest me if I run away. I show these different things because women are basically property. They're basically property of the family. And this happens across the globe, across culture. And, more women are seeing, social media and wanting some freedoms. I'm going to end it with this one. Getting a bad husband was very much a threat when I was growing up. I grew up in Trinidad, and getting married to a man that would beat you was definitely a threat. So many women were married to men that beat them. If you didn't have an education and good job, you could be shackled to some man in marriage forever if you could not afford to leave. The woman that lived across the street from my family and the woman that lived in the house next to the one that I grew up in were both beaten regularly by their husbands. I always believed that I had to be well educated and have a good job so I could leave if I had a bad husband. Women from the Indian subcontinent also lived these types of lives. I worked in a neighborhood where there were lots of Indian immigrants, and those young women also put a great deal of time and effort into getting a good education and have good jobs because the quality of husband their families can get them in an arranged marriage can be very, very much according to how well educated they are. So, like I said, I have lots of women weighing in my comment section, and I'm very, very thankful for this community. I'm grateful that so many women share their narratives. And like I said early on, I would just want women to be safe, secure, and have opportunities to live how they want to. And like I said, I share narratives so that we can see their perspective because what we see in our own little bubble is a very minuscule world. And so sharing narratives helps to expand that just a little bit. So don't forget to jump in the comments and let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.